Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network for Entrepreneurs. I'm Dan Hanford, and my wife, Danae, and I interview successful people sharing stories behind tough decisions that they've had to make along their journey as an entrepreneur.
Today on the podcast, we have with us Josh Elledge. Josh, thank you for being with us. We're looking forward to talking with you, and we'd like for you to get us started by just telling us a little bit about your background and where your focus is right now as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so right out of high school, I joined the United States Navy as a Navy journalist, wanting to kind of, create my adult life on my own. So after 5 years of that, went to school, studied family science, family therapy, but ultimately found myself as an entrepreneur. I tried the corporate life. That really didn't work for me. So I just started a series of businesses. And I would tell you that those first six failed, and some of them failed pretty spectacularly. But number 7 was the lucky one, and that was a company I launched 11 years ago called Savings Angel, and membership-based website where we help consumers save money on everything. And we ended up doing very, very well with that, pretty much because I had become very media savvy. I had started getting on TV and on radio and started writing a syndicated newspaper column. So as a result, we ended up doing over $6 million in revenue, and we spent less than $500 in advertising. We just didn't advertise. So that experience led me to get a lot of invitations to help in our local startup community. And as I was doing that, I was kind of encouraging them not to invest in PR, but, here are some simple things that you could do yourself. And it started working, and they started getting all this media, and then they hired me. And so lo and behold, I kind of reluctantly started a PR service, but I wanted to do it very, very different than anything out there. And that's what's become UpMyInfluence, which we run today, my team and I.
Well, it sounds like this is going to be an interesting podcast today. I'm looking forward to diving into some of the tough decisions you've had.
Yeah.
So can you start us off by going through a tough decision that, I like to call it the sore thumb tough decision. And, as serial entrepreneurs, I have multiple, sore thumb tough decisions, but there's always one that really sticks out more than all the other ones. And I'm sure you have one as well. And so would you start us off by talking about that tough decision that didn't have that good of an outcome?
Well, sure. I would say, quitting my job before I really had anything established. I don't know what I was thinking. I had a job that was fine. And, in all respects, it was good, but I just didn't feel comfortable. And I could tell you the story of what completely was the straw that broke the camel's back in a little bit. But I basically had some consulting work that I was doing on the side, but nothing steady, nothing serious. And boy, as a consultant, I'm always very, very cautious when someone says, yeah, I'm thinking about quitting my job and doing this full time, and hopefully it'll work out. I'm like, don't do that. You don't have to do that. There are lots of different ways that, there's activity you can do in your part-time that can really, really build this up so that you can make your transition much easier. But yeah, as a result, ultimately that decision led to foreclosure, bankruptcy, and just a lot of financial pain. And I really wish that I did not put myself and my family through that.
I'm just wondering, have you always been what we call an entrepreneur, or did you just kind of fall into that once you realized that corporate life was really not what you wanted?
No, I always knew I wanted to be in business for myself. And that was, when I was in middle school, I was mowing lawns, and I was just very ambitious that way. I was always wanting to create something and then be compensated for it. And so that always was with me. I actually, before I went into corporate America, I owned a mobile DJ company, and it didn't do that well, but boy, I really enjoyed it. I loved creating my own thing. And I don't know if it's in my blood, but it's kind of interesting. My dad is a business owner now. I think in my elementary school years, as he transitioned from working a job to working on his own. And my grandma also around that same time became a business owner. She owns a health food store in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And it's kind of interesting doing my family history. I found out that my great granddaddy, listen, this is an old-timey name, Amos Elledge, sold blocks of ice. He was a proprietor. He owned an ice business where he would go door to door and sell blocks of ice. And so again, I don't know if that's kind of in my blood or what it is, but I'm a really not a good employee. I just, always did not enjoy someone at a higher level making decisions. I'm like, I disagree with that, but okay, I guess we got to do it your way.
I'm sure there's some people listening that are still currently working, have a W-2 job, and they've thought about making that leap and that transition. What would you say to those people who are listening that, are wanting to make that transition, that leap, and some of the cautions or some of the things that they should be looking for or planning for before they make that transition?
Absolutely. So today, the most important thing you can do while you're still working a job is you need to build your audience. You need to build and serve your audience. And that means just doing tons of pro bono stuff. You do it. And you do it because you need to build critical mass. You need to build an audience that will support you financially down the road when you make that jump. So let's say you're working, like you're really into keto and you also love cooking. So you're developing your own ketogenic cookbook and you're like, yeah, and then I'm going to offer memberships and all the coaching and all this other stuff. And that's great. But, obviously you don't want to quit your job until you've got more than enough money to replace your income. And I say more than enough because, as you know, of course, as a business owner, income goes up and down. Cash flow is always kind of an issue at certain phases of our business. Certainly at the beginning it is. And so you should be just serving, doing YouTube videos, doing live streams, writing content for a blog, podcasting, just building up your Instagram audience and just build. Get a list of email subscribers. And when you feel like, that money starts coming in and it's just like, look, I have so much business. Here's the line you want to be able to say. I'm turning down so much business because I don't have the time to do it. That, and you're otherwise, like your income is really, really good. Then I would say that would be probably a better time to quit your job than too early. I know we get excited and we're like, I'm going to be a full-time entrepreneur. It's just, again, it will always be there. It's, obviously you don't want to miss out on too many things timing wise, but generally you're going to be okay. If you keep on building that audience, listen, someone who's got 10,000 followers on Instagram is just going to do better business-wise than someone who has 50. Because you have a bigger Instagram audience to communicate with, and you just have a different pool, a bigger pool to promote to, and a bigger pool of people who are going to promote whatever it is that you're working on if you establish a good relationship with them.
Shifting gears here just a little bit, Josh, talk about a decision that you've made that had a really good outcome, or maybe it was just a decision that had a better outcome than you thought it would.
So I could tell you that one of my businesses, just another kind of a bad one. Let me tell you what the decision was. So one of my businesses is that I owned a blog before there were such things as blogs. And I owned a small town newspaper as well. And a newspaper, by the way, is a horrible business to start. And I knew eventually print would die, but I wanted to transition with it or whatever. But I was afraid of selling, and I had a real aversion to selling. And so as a result, I would source that and it would not work very well. And so I had no money. And that was one of the things that led to that foreclosure and bankruptcy as well. And again, very painful. And ultimately, of course, that business went out of business because I was afraid to essentially generate money. I wanted to focus on the product and not actually growing the business, which was a major, major mistake. So that business went out of business. And before it did, however, I started working with a company where I would be doing 100% nothing but sales and marketing. And it was an independent contractor position. and they provided a lot of training and support. And it had a network marketing component to it. That actually was one of the smartest things I ever did. Now, I actually ended up doing okay financially with that company, but it only lasted 5 years because eventually it all kind of fell apart. But that 5 years, I learned so much about sales and marketing and leadership, and it was really, really great. So, maybe network marketing might be, or, affiliating with some other company that allows you to work independently might be a good option. I'm going to tell you right now, don't do it for the money because it's hard to earn a really good full-time income in network marketing. And even when you do, you lose a couple of key leaders and it all falls apart. And that can happen. And that does happen. Or the company changes the compensation plan. So I don't recommend network marketing as a long-term lifestyle business. Now, there are other people who do quite well. I was not able to. And I would say that statistically, the average person and even the average really good person who's pretty business savvy and is a hustler still is not going to be in that business forever. So have an exit plan. So what that means is that you ought to focus on building your audience and building yourself and just really, really just treat it like a college education.
So I want you to talk to us as well about some strategies that you now use when you're facing a tough decision.
Well, because of this 5-year experience where the only way that I could earn money is if I just went out, sat down and sold. And again, I use this term selling. Selling is not about convincing somebody that they need your product. Selling is, can I solve a problem in your life right now? Is there a match? Let's figure that out. Let me make sure you have all the information and we'll determine that. And if it's not a match, that's cool. I don't care. It's, amateurs convince, leaders sort. And so, but because of that 5 years, see, I did the hard thing. It was really uncomfortable to do that. Really uncomfortable. And I was continually putting myself in a painful, uncomfortable position because that was the only way that I could earn money, basically. And so because of that, I had been in the uncomfortable zone so much that then when I started Savings Angel following that, I wasn't afraid of anything, to be honest with you. And so here's my recommendation is go do uncomfortable stuff. Intentionally do the thing you don't want to do and say, this is good. I heard this one interview with this one guy, and he said, do the thing that you're uncomfortable in doing, because if you do it, and it might not be comfortable even after that first time, but if you do it over and over and over again, guess what? You're going to start to get comfortable with it. You might not be able to bench press 200 pounds. I can't right now, but if I keep working at it, it's uncomfortable right now and it's impossible right now. But if I keep working at it, eventually I can. And that's just the way that our bodies and our minds work. And so that's my coping mechanism is I just do the hard thing anyway, and I keep on doing it. And I actually take that sign, ooh, I'm uncomfortable here, as a, hey, that's actually good that I feel uncomfortable with this. And if I can do it anyway, then I will learn something new or get good at this. So a lot of times business owners will say, particularly if they're religious, they'll say, God, please take this pain away from me. This is too much. When in fact, a better strategy may be, and I don't doubt that God can do that, but a better strategy may be, God, instill in me the skills and resources that I need and allow me to overcome this circumstance. Give me the confidence, give me the joy, the happiness, the comfort, the peace, so that I can take this on and I can do this. So I think that's kind of the road that I've chosen. And it hasn't always been easy. As a matter of fact, it's not, but I think that it works.
Yeah, some good insights there on getting out of your comfort zone and how we approach difficult things. Because I do think you're right about that. A lot of us just want to get out of it rather than figuring out how we can change and improve ourselves because of it. All right, we're going to take a quick break and hear from one of our show sponsors. When we come back, we will talk to Josh about his favorites as it relates to his life as an entrepreneur.
Have you ever thought about investing in real estate, but find yourself so busy that you don't have time for it? Do you have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out? At HanfordCapital.com, we help investors with passive real estate investments that project better returns than traditional investment vehicles such as the stock market. If you'd like to find out more about our passive real estate investments, visit HanfordCapital.com. That's HANDFORD Capital.com. We will jump on a call with you to discuss your investment goals and to see if our investments are a good fit for you. This advertisement is not to be construed as an offer or recommendation to buy or sell a security. Visit HanfordCapital.com. All right, we are back with Josh Elledge. And Josh, I want you to talk to us first in this series of quick questions and answers that we call the trifecta about your most favorite technology that you use in business that helps make your life easier as an entrepreneur.
Well, it's definitely going to have to be Slack. And I'd say a component of that, if we kind of step beyond that, then I would say as you start building a team, it's really, really critical, especially for a lot of us who have virtual teams. We've got 20 people on our team right now with UpMyInfluence, and we do a lot of good work for a lot of amazing clients, and we're helping bring their impact to the world. But when you have that many people, even if you only have one or two people, it's really important that you have culture. So in Slack, it's really important that you encourage off-work conversation and as a leader. And it's really like, you don't say, hey, people are wasting time, on the clock. Like, don't do that. Like, instead, you should encourage that, because that's where when people are able to talk with their coworkers and, have this fun culture where they're sharing memes and that kind of thing. Like, if you have one person that that's like all they're doing, then that's a different issue. But generally you want people talking about the things that are going on in their life, so it becomes more of a family. And then I'll also say that when you have get-togethers with your team and you're virtual, it's really, really critical that you do this over video, and that you say, I know you don't want to do video, but everyone's got to do video. Again, there's something about the power of seeing people that you work with on a regular basis, even if it's over a computer screen, that'll do. But yeah, culture is so critical if you want people to enjoy what they're doing, do great work, have greater productivity, be happier, stay with you longer. And so really invest in that. So my technology would be, and again, not like anybody doesn't know these, but we run our business on Slack. We spend hours and hours and hours in Slack every day coordinating on the services that we provide for our clients, our particular clients. And then, of course, when we do chat, we try to do it on video whenever possible. And Zoom is just so amazing. Skype, I'm sorry, you were once great, but your technical problems have really infuriated a lot of people.
So what's one quote that you've heard that's helped you as an entrepreneur?
A person is just about as happy as he makes up his mind to be. And that was Abraham Lincoln. And I really think that, again, it's kind of a existential quote where we choose to create our own experience. Two people can have the exact same circumstance. Like, say you and your spouse can have the same financial situation. Like, you end up having to replace both heating and air conditioning units, which happened to us this year. So it's like, okay, there's $9,000. And so you could look at that and say, well, oh, this is terrible. This is horrible. This, or, you could say, you know what, that's fine. That just, gives me a challenge to overcome. And, these are just the things that we're presented with. And, and this allows me to say, winter is my season. I will be the one that will overcome any challenge or any quote unquote impossibility. So whereas someone else might, focus on the negative. And I'd say personally, I'm much more of an advocate for championing the positive side of about anything and looking for solutions rather than, it's okay to say, oh, that sucks, that hurts. But eventually we got to shift into solution mode really, really quick. And we just got to take action. Action will solve all that stuff.
And what's one book that you would recommend that's helped you with either how you make decisions or how you run your business as an entrepreneur?
It's going to be Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. And the reason why, it is a big book. It's over 1,200 pages. It's a fictional novel. And one of the biggest messages that I got from it is that you can't blame other people for your circumstances. And similarly, you can't expect other people to bail you out. Like, oh, well, I'm not succeeding because of the economy. Or, oh, if I were only a man or a woman. Or, oh, if I only had this or that. Or if my circumstances are different. Your circumstances are your circumstances. And, this idea that if we just keep doing our thing, we're going to get discovered and that's the way it's supposed to be. And people are supposed to support and defend us. You don't need that. Listen, do and create amazing stuff despite all of your challenges. And I think that if you look at the success stories that are out there, you'll see that there really are very, very few kind of rags to riches stories where someone gets discovered. It's not like that. That's a matter of fact, that's such a popular American myth, and it just doesn't operate like that. You can't just perform in your local community theater and just keep on performing, and then all of a sudden you find your way on the big screen. That's not how it works. You have to work your guts out in not just doing your thing and perfecting your craft, but you got to be out promoting yourself. And the more you promote yourself, then you got to be a business owner, not a business operator. And this really kind of gets into some Michael Gerber E-Myth stuff, is you have to grow your business. That's your number one job. Have other people handle the operations. Give them opportunities to grow. Make that part of your vision is like, I'm going to have this team of people and I'm going to give them a great lifestyle. I'm going to pay them really well. They're going to, I'm going to help them create their perfect lifestyle as well. And, share your goodness with them.
So what's the next thing for you right now on your vision or your dream board?
Well, we are absolutely in kind of that growth, I'd say kind of fast, rapid growth stage right now with UpMyInfluence. We're getting our clients in lots of magazines, lots of hooking them up with like major YouTubers so they can grow a lot faster. See, I believe that every person has a message that can positively impact the world. So our mission is really just to turn them into media celebrities so that they can have more authority, more influence, and ultimately more revenue. And so that means 10xing our company, and I don't have any doubt in the world on that, just based on the outcome that we have and kind of the impact that we're having on the lives of our clients. And that's what makes me feel so good when I can see the good stuff that they want to bring to the world and to see that come to fruition. It doesn't happen overnight for them, but it happens a lot faster when we work together.
Well, Josh, it's been really good to talk to you. Thanks for bringing us some insights here from the tough decisions that you've made, and I want to wish you the best and just look forward to talking to you again as you grow your business.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really love being able to talk about these sorts of things on this conversation. I don't normally get to talk about. So thank you so much for creating this forum. And honestly, I love this show. This is so much more valuable than maybe just tactical that you may hear elsewhere out there on the internet.
Well, thanks. We appreciate your support and we've had a good time. And like I said, we'll look forward to talking to you again sometime.
Brilliant. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to gain access to show notes for this episode and to join our free weekly entrepreneur email where we will send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest books for entrepreneurs. That's toughdecisions.net.